Okay, hello, my name's Tom Barnett, and I will be presenting at the Far North Queensland event. And for this common law group, I'm just going to give an introduction to me and what you can expect from my presence there, along with my business partner, Dave Armstrong. So a little bit about me. I was always very curious growing up. So I was a very avid learner. And what I noticed was that the way we were taught things, especially through school and rote learning I got from my family as well, although I learned quickly, I quickly realized I wasn't really learning anything of great value. Although my, how I was doing and how much of a good boy I was definitely determined by the results I got, or how quickly I could answer a question, or how quote unquote intelligent that I appeared to be. But something was never really right with that for me. And I knew it all along. So then coming through into my adulthood, like getting out of adolescence, I started to find that I had issues with, authority and the law, not from like a, going around committing crimes point of view, but just I could see that there was injustices and inconsistencies. And I always had this ability to question. So through that questioning, I was led down many roads and many rabbit holes. And a lot of those led to this principle of natural law and why it's so important and how it governs all things, including our rights and including how the legal system is set up and why they don't actually do anything really wrong, because what they're doing is mirrored in the natural world. So you've got your public and private, the public being the world of substance, and then the private being the world of substance and the public being the world of fiction. So really what they're doing is they're just creating in this mirror image world where all we have to do is create in the world of substance in the private. And that's the underlying principle behind most of what I present, including what I'll present at the Far North Queensland event, which I'm really looking forward to doing. And what motivates me is really just my inner sense of morality and justice. I find it I find it impossible to just go along with the herd and do what I'm told. Now, I have no issues following direction and orders, but it needs to make sense. And if it's not under the principles of natural law and it's not guided by what I call spirit, well, I'm just saying a hard no and I'm thinking for myself and doing my own thing. And that's really what I became known for over the last few years, was when, COVID rolled around and people thought you were supposed to do what you were told. I just said no, and that's not how things work. And this is actually perhaps a different and I think better way to look at it. So again, that was an offer, much like COVID was an offer, much like everything is an offer. And that is, again, the type of material that I'll be covering during the talk. What I also like to do is remind people of what our essence is and the importance of that, and how it's the one thing that is uniquely yours that no one can take from you. And when you start to reach that place and create from that place and come from and communicate from that place, no one can take it away from you. You can give it away because you fall into traps of illusions and fear and worry and doubt, and you give it away. But that's by your agreement, and that's an offer for that to happen in the first place from mind viruses. So that's why I said, I learned long ago that everything does happen by the principles of natural law. So I'm motivated by that, motivated by getting towards this aspect of myself that is so uniquely me. And it's underneath the levels of programming, indoctrination, right, wrong, good boy, bad boy, all those sorts of things. And it's the essence of what I am. And the closer I get to that, which is a very big journey for everybody, myself included, the closer I get to that, the more I'm finding the life has so much magic in it. And I think that's one of the things that most people that I see in the quote unquote truther world, or the common law world or whatever, they're stuck in fight mode. They're trying to fight something. They want the systems brought down. But they're not really doing anything for themselves or from their own place of their essence. They're part of what made them, part of creativity, that connection to what put us here. It's fighting demons in the world of fiction, like this act versus that act, or, bringing this, but no one's ever really asking the question about what do we have in place. Now, some people, of course, are very invested in creating alternative systems, as you might look at it, but systems are just us, and systems in and of themselves are neither good nor bad or private nor public. They're just systems. It's how you use it. So if you're not getting to know who you are, how you use those will be determined by your indoctrination or what you believe them to be, based on the programming of a mind virus, which makes it what they, quote unquote, want it to be and not what you want it to be. So I've found over the years that the answers to many things are very, very simple, but most people are too distracted to be able to see it. So one of the ways that I help people move through the distractions is to teach people how to feel what's very much substance right here, right now, what's right with them, not just in front of them, but with them. And that's the breath. So I'll start my presentation by taking people through one of the exercises that I teach in my Beyond Breath program. And that's being able to feel your own energy field and work with it and start to feel into the part of you that is your essence, that is different from everything else. It's not programmed there. It's not indoctrinated there. It's there by creation. And that I found personally is the most powerful place you can be and the most powerful place you can come from. So then when you write notices or you communicate in the public or whatever, it's coming from a much, much more powerful place that no one can take from you. So then that's pretty much what mine will be about. Listeners should be excited because I'm not really familiar with other people that are presenting this kind of material in this kind of way. For me, it always seems to start at the end point without really giving people the tools it requires to get there. It's like, it's great to have a trust, but what is a trust and what is trust really? A trust is named after the term trust. Like if you are the one that has trust and has the trust in yourself, the trust in your creator, the trust in your peers, that's what a trust is. When trust is not there, you need a trust, because I don't trust those people. How can I trust people? You have a trust because of a lack of trust. And this is what I don't hear anybody teaching. So not that I teach it, so to speak. It's just, these are just concepts and principles that I like to share that have helped me. And through those concepts and principles, I hope that when people come and they listen to the talks, that they can develop their own answers, get their own inner standings from these concepts, rather than teaching like, this is how it is, and then you cross that out, and then you put this over there. And for me, it doesn't really work that way. So that's what you can expect and why you should be excited. For the Common Law Connection, how does this event tie in with the Common Law group and why is it relevant to your crew? Well, I think that it's just bridging some perhaps missing pieces together, some gaps there where we've missed some key principles and concepts that can help you figure out why you would refer to the Constitution or an act, and where does common law actually apply and where does it simply not. So common law is the law of the land and the law of the living, yes, but a lot of people who go down that route aren't really familiar with commerce or equity or anything to that effect. And beyond that, I don't see many people working on this aspect of getting to know yourself. Because in my experience, and this is echoed amongst many other people who have gone down this route as well, is when you start to get to know yourself, what you say in the moment will be the right thing. You don't have to recall an act from 1972 or 1851. You don't have to know the right and wrong things to say. The analogy that I always give is a man talking to a woman. Now, a man could learn all of Casanova's greatest hits. He could watch every, suave James Bond movie out there and memorize the lines. This is how you talk to a woman. This is how you bet a woman. But at the end of the day, if you're not the right guy, it doesn't matter what you say, she won't be interested. However, if you just listen to the inner essence of yourself and you connect to that woman, you could say the dumbest thing ever. You could say nothing at all, and she's still going to be interested because of who you are. And what you are doing, what you are saying, but more importantly, what you are resonating is the right frequency, the right thing, the right message. So what you put out, you will get back in return. And this is where I see people going wrong in the quote unquote, like common law world and all that, is they're relying so heavily on the books, and the books are fiction. So when you can come back to you and you're the book now, you're the law, then what you put out, you'll get back. Because when I see people try to rely on an act or this part of the Constitution or whatever else, and it's coming from a place of fighting, and it's so disempowering that they're like, look at my black belt, you can't touch me. Those are the people who get a blood nose straight away. So then when you're trying to come from that place, that's why people still end up with knees in their back and they're handcuffed and they're pepper sprayed and they spend, jail time or nights in cells. It's because what they're putting out is what they're getting back, and they're putting out fighting mentalities. They're putting out the wrong energy. So when you can bring it back and you can come from the right place because you're getting to know who you are, yes, those things are helpful. Yes, those are a good tool. But at the end of the day, you will be the right thing, do the right thing, and say the right thing because you will be engaging in what's called right action as a principle. Now, you can completely miss right action because you're trying to go back to a line that you memorized that somebody told you to say. or that you saw a video of somebody else blowing off a cop or something and you say the same thing. You miss right action because you miss the moment, because you forget who you are. And you think the line does the job, and the line is just a line. It's like tool. It's neither good nor bad, public nor private. Like a system, it's how you use it. So if you don't get those principles, you'll only go so far in this world of common law or rights or the freedom movement or whatever, which for me is actually one of the most disempowered groups going around. You have stage one, which is people who are oblivious. They're a very low voltage battery for the system. Stage two is where people are kind of getting very familiar with the fiction out there, and they're so disempowered by it and they want to fight it every day that they're giving all of their attention, which is the most valuable currency, to it, that they don't want to support. And so they're the biggest battery for that system. What I'd like to try to help people do, especially in these kinds of communities that are in that, not all of them are, but a lot are, is to help them get to stage three, where they start to see it for what it is and use it for their creation. So rather than fighting it, they're using it and they're drawing from it. So no longer are you a battery for that system. You're actually extracting energy from it and using it to create in the world of substance, to create from your essence, and to be able to create real good in the world, and not keep feeding these things that people really don't like because they feel so disempowered by it because of their own agreement, because of the offers that they accepted. And so that's really the core principle of what I'll be talking about. And I think if there's any takeaway related to the event or the law scene in general, I think it's that. I think it's like really getting to know what creates actual change and actual improvement in the world. And that, in my experience, is just being a better person. So how do you do that? Well, you've got to focus on what you're eating, what you're drinking, how you're breathing. Are you in tune with nature and nature's cycles and therefore natural law? The more you are outside of natural law, the more you're up till 3 a.m. researching intergalactic hierarchies and who rules who, the less you're actually going to be a good part, less you're going to express the resonance of your essence into the real world, and you're just going to get crap back. So that's it's always this catch-22 sort of thing. And nothing's irrelevant and nothing has no value. So it is still learning the acts, learning the Constitution, learning about rights in the paper world, but realizing you're not a piece of paper. So that's one of the biggest mistakes I think people make, is identifying with things. And therefore, that's why your identification is the tools that they use to run you and get your energy. So we'll be discussing all that and more at the event. So if you haven't got tickets yet, it's definitely a good time to get them. Make sure you don't miss out, because the tickets will sell out and they are limited. So I would really looking forward to seeing people there. I'll be doing an hour presentation. Dave will do an hour presentation, and we'll both be on the main panel for Q&A as well. And of course, when we see people out and about, come up and say hello. We'll have a Living Free offer there as well, where Living Free movement members who are already members or who join while they're there, we'll have an LFM catch up there as well, like a little private gathering, which would be cool. So it'd be great to see a lot of people who have their heart in the right place. And I hope that with what we bring there, we can help people to direct that to places that are going to benefit them, rather than benefit that which they are so vehemently trying to oppose. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. And if there's anything that I think, people think will come up before then that they think will be very, useful or poignant, then feel free to reach out to us. I'm tom.barnett@livingfreemovement.org, and you can reach us there and let us know what you'd like to hear at the event, and we'll see you there.